I am Chosen Architect. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Chosen Architect, and today we're going to do a quick tutorial on how to record Minecraft videos or any gameplay videos, So first things first, you're going to need to download a free software, which is called OBS. So we'll go ahead and search OBS, just like so. You'll click on the link and you'll be brought to this web page. Okay, so if you plan on streaming with OBS, I do recommend you use the standard OBS software. Do not use the multi-platform if you're planning on using this for streaming. Now, if you plan on using it for recording, I highly recommend using the OBS Multiplatform. Now, you can have both of them installed on your computer and use them separately. They don't conflict each other. They're completely separate programs. But if you plan on streaming, use the OBS standard for Windows. If you have a Windows PC, I think there is ways to use this on Linux, but I don't know. But I know this one definitely works on Linux. But use this one if you plan on recording gameplay or anything to upload to YouTube, anything like that. And this is definitely useful because you can do multi-track recording, which is the exact reason why I use it, and it's free. Can't beat free. So you'll just want to click the Windows link, and it'll go ahead and it'll start downloading. And since I already have it installed, there ain't no reason for me to have it. So let me go ahead and get out of there. Alright, and then I already have it installed and open, so I'm just going to go ahead and open it up. Of course, you're going to get this. I'm using it to record right now, so you're going to get this tunnel vision effect. So the first thing you want to do is you're not going to see any of this. This is actually going to be blank. You're going to probably see something that is said right there by default. I don't remember exactly what it was, but there'll be something there that was already there. So you're going to want to either click and rename it, which is what I did. You just right click and you click rename, and it'll let you edit it. So over here though, you're going to want to click add. You're going to right click it, or you can click the plus button down here, and then you can add whatever you want to add. So if you're wanting to record gameplay, you're going to click game capture. So I'm going to go ahead and add another game capture. Of course, it's going to say 1 because I have it right here. So it'll be game capture 1, and this will pull up. Okay, so if your game is not currently running, nothing will be showing up in this window. So if I was to open up Minecraft, let's say, which I'm not going to do right now because I usually upload that in 1080. But I think I can do my Xbox. Go ahead and get that up and running. I'll show you what that does as well. So just like with this, you'll click on the window tab and you'll pull a drop down menu of the programs you have running. So like if you have Minecraft running, there'll be a window for Minecraft, and you click it. It's going to drag it in, and it's going to give you a source image of that and the audio from it, which is pretty useful. And you can of course mess with these. For just gameplay videos, there's nothing in here that you may need to use except for this use anti-cheat capability hook. That will prevent anti-cheat from thinking your software, for like a multiplayer game, it'll prevent it from thinking you're cheating, and usually those games will boot you out of the multiplayer session. So if you need to use that, you can definitely use that if you're having problems. Okay. So once you have your gameplay or whatever it is set, there's a few settings we need to go into and talk about first. So click your settings button. Under General tab, if you're just recording and not using the software for streaming, which is what I'm going over, you're going to leave these first 2 tabs alone. These tabs you won't need to worry about. This one you can mess with, I guess, if you want to change the way your program looks. You can, of course, I like the dark, so I'm going to keep the dark. You won't need to use anything here. Okay, so for output, the first thing we need to do is click on the recording tab. and you need to make sure you're under this advanced tab. Of course, I can't click it right now because I'm currently editing or currently recording with the software. So you'll need to click in this drop down menu and click advanced. You may not even be able to click, may not have these tabs, or actually you will have the tabs, but you'll see this border around here. You won't be able to access this information. So we'll click recording, because streaming, nothing you need to worry about there. Okay, so you'll click recording. The type will be standard, and then you want to click your path. Of course, mine's set in my video file, and then raw recording. Next, you'll want to click your recording format, and I highly recommend using an MP4 format, mainly for the multi-track recording. Okay, so next it'll ask you how many audio tracks do you want. You can have up to 4 audio tracks. If you're going to just record your computer audio or the gameplay audio or any kind of for any audio that you're doing, you're going to want to at least have 1 selected. And if you're using a mic, you're going to need to have 2 selected. That'll just help you when you go to edit your video later. You'll have 2 separate tracks, and you can adjust your audio levels for both of those tracks, so your gameplay audio isn't overwhelming your voice audio. Next, you're going to want to click your encoder, and your encoder needs to be X264. Okay, for your output, this is where it's going to rescale your output. Currently, it looks like mine's set to 1280 by 720, which it shouldn't be because I'm actually recording in 1080 right now. But this should be set to whatever you're working on. If you're running, say, a 1080p gameplay video, and you don't actually want to like change your screen resolution and change your gameplay resolution down to 780 or down to 720. You can just have this, you can have it record in 1080, but it's going to downscale to 720, so your video will end up being 720. Now, doing this, you're of course going to lose some of that quality, but sometimes it's worth it. It's mainly used for streaming, so I don't necessarily recommend you use this. I recommend that whatever you're recording at, you have this rescale output too. Currently, I have it unchecked, so it's not even going to bother with it. So I recommend having it unchecked. But if you are going to use it, you need to check this box, and you need to set it to what you want it to downscale to. All right, and now for the little advanced stuff. Okay, so your bitrate, from what I've read, it says set it to the default 1000. I think it should be set at default 1000. And you're going to use a custom buffer size, and set your buffer size to 0. And it setting to 0 is going to set it to auto. Same with your keyframe interval, set it to 0, which is auto, which will be auto. You're going to want to uncheck use CBR, which I think it's automatically checked. You're going to want to uncheck that. And now for the CRF, this is pretty much your quality of the video. So the higher this number is, the smaller the file size, but you're going to lose quality in your video the higher that number goes. If you were to set this to 0, you're going to have a lossless file. So you're going to have a large file with the maximum video quality. So I set it between, depending on what I'm playing, I go anywhere from 5 to 15. I haven't went any higher than that. So, all right. So for your CPU usage, all right, it says higher equals less CPU. Now, I currently have it set to very fast, and I'm pretty sure that's the default, and it works just fine for me. I don't have any problems with it. But when you do mess with this, you do have a chance of you could be causing your computer to lag. Say if you don't have a very fast computer, this could be a big issue for you. So if you need to, you can set it to like ultra fast or super fast. But of course it says the higher the less CPU. So of course ultra fast would use less of your CPU. I don't know if you suffer in quality with this being checked, but because I don't know too much about what this is actually doing to your video, but I just left it as default. Your profile, you're going to want to set it to high. No reason to not have that there. And your tune, I just leave it at none unless you want to play with some of these. Sometimes like a fast decode may be something you might want. Animation, for recording an animation, that may be something you want to try. Stuff like that, but I just leave it at none. There's no reason for me to use it. For variable frame rate, you do not want that checked because we're going to select a frame rate here in just a second. And this 264 options, separated by space, that would be to like edit stuff like the CRF, which we've already edited up here, so you can just leave that blank. Alright, for the audio, what you're going to want to do is make sure you go to audio bitrate and select the highest one, which is 160. Go ahead and select the highest one, which is 160. Now I have to admit, with this software, you are limited to your audio bitrate being at 160. But YouTube, when you go to upload to YouTube, it's not going to let you have that high 320 bitrate that is such a crisp, good sounding audio quality. So it's automatically going to set it to 160, which is all right. I mean, as you can tell by the way my video is sounding right now, it's not suffering at all. So after that, we're going to go down to the audio tab. All right, now under the sample rate, you're going to want to select what your actual desktop audio rate is, and you can find that by going into your audio settings. So let's just drag this over. So under your audio settings, you're going to want to go to properties. You're going to right click on what your default is. Go to properties. You're going to go to advanced, and you're going to see what it is. So mine is 24-bit 4800 hertz studio quality. All right, so with that selected, as you can see, this is 48 hertz stereo, and I make sure to select the correct audio device, which is of course the audio device that I'm using right here. Alright, so that's audio device 1. You can have multiple devices, but I just have it disabled because I don't have a second audio device running through here for my desktop. Alright, now for microphones, you can have up to 3 microphones as it shows, which is a pretty useful feature as well. So if you want to have multiple people running around and you don't want to have a splitter or anything like that going on, you can have fully editable audio devices going on. So I just, of course, select the microphone I'm actually using, and under here, as you can see, that's the one I'm using, the Blue Snowball. Alright, so now that the audio is configured, you're going to want to leave all this stuff alone. We're going to go into the video tab. Now, like it says, I'm currently recording, so it's going to be kind of darkened out, but I'll read everything out to you. Under renderer, you need to leave it at its default, which will be DirectX 3D 11 probably. Depending on what DirectX version you have, it may be different, but usually you'll just leave this alone. Say if you don't have a very fast computer, this recording software may not work as well for you. It all depends on the speed of your computer, and that is the same with any video recorder for your computer. They're all going to be pretty CPU heavy, and I've noticed that this one isn't that bad, and I do not get any lag in my videos, which with some I definitely do get lag. So under video adapter, just leave that blank. Your base canvas resolution. All right, now this is going to control what your actual output is. So as you can see in my software over here, I have this whole thing is what's called a canvas, and right now I have it set to 1080p, but if you wanted your video to output to 720p, you would limit your canvas size to 720p, and that's what you would get. But of course your canvas size would decrease to 720p as well, so you'd have to adjust your stuff, which I'll go over in a second. Alright, now for output scaled resolution, I highly recommend you keep that the same. You're going to want to keep that the exact same, so you keep that quality. Alright, now for your downscale filter, I recommend using this, it's LAN Kazos, I think that's how it's pronounced, LAN Kazos. Sharpening, scaling, 32 samples, which is a high quality filter. If you're having problems with lag and it's not working out for you, just mess with those. Change them, make them smaller. I think there's one. This is the highest sample rate, so you can actually go lower than that if you're having problems. All right, and here is your custom frame rate values. This is what I was talking about earlier with the frame rate. You're going to want to click your drop-down menu, and there should be a whole list of them. I recommend either using 30 frames or 60 frames. If you're doing like FPS shooters, like fast gameplay, I just highly recommend you using 60 frames. Now that YouTube supports 60 frames per second, it looks very good. But if you're doing anything else, 30 frame rate is perfect. Nobody's going to complain about your video being 30 frame rate, since that's what we've had for such a long time. 30 frames per second is just perfect. You're actually going to get a smaller file size if you use 30 frames. I'm using 60 frames just because I'm recording desktop, and it just makes things look a lot nicer. Alright, so now that that's done, we'll go to hotkeys, and I just use the start recording, and I use my insert key since I don't use that for anything else. While I'm using the software, I use it for the start and stop. So when I'm done, I'll just click it again, which is very simple. Now you can go through here and you can set all the hotkeys you want. There's tons of them. Another one I recommend is muting the mic. So there should be one for mic, I think. Down here, yeah, auxiliary mic right here. And for every source that you have, it'll of course bring this up. And under the Advanced tab, there's nothing I think you should worry about. The color format, everything should be left as default. And that should be good. And I think all those settings are fine. All right, so now the next step. If you go to record right now, and you notice when you put it in your editor, you're like, well, where's my multi-track audio? Because it's not. It'll give you multiple tracks, but it's not going to give you a separate audio from your mic and desktop audio. So what you're going to want to do is click your mixer tab, which is this little button above all your audio right here. You click that tab, you're going to have this tracks button over here, or track selector over here, which I didn't know starting out, so this is pretty important. Underneath the name, you'll find all your different sources that you might have, like the Xbox One is its own source. So under the mic audio, I had it selected under settings, under audio, or actually I need to go to output, and under audio, where I had it right here. Track 1, I had it set to mic. Track 2, I have it set to game audio or any other audio, and you can label those yourself however you want. So what I need to do is have track 1 selected. I think all these will be selected whenever you first open this up. So you'll want to uncheck everything and make sure that your mic is set to 1, and any of your other audio tracks will be set to 2, just like this. And then leave everything else blank because you don't have more than 2 audio tracks going on. And of course, you can do other things, like you can change the volume if one of your volumes is too high already. You can change that. You can pan. I don't recommend doing that, but you can. But now that you have that all set up, I'm going to go ahead and show you this right here. So I already have some gameplay going on, and my Xbox One, if I go in and I go to, if I double click it, it'll bring up my settings. Alright, so my settings, it'll be configure video. I think it should bring up an option, but it might not. Let me cancel this. There it goes. Alright, so it should have already upscaled my video to 1080p. But make sure everything's set like it's supposed to. Me scrolling is affecting my thing. Capture audio, flip, parallel. Okay, it should all be good. So what I'll do is, if I get rid of my display capture, and get rid of the game capture and turn on my Xbox One. It'll see that since I usually record this in 720, you'll notice that this is not in the right aspect ratio. So you can actually edit this all you want within here. So you can set all kinds of stuff up. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and stretch it out, or you can actually transform and go to stretch to screen. Oops, selecting the wrong one. Xbox One, there we go. Transform and then go to stretch to screen. If it lets me, there, I'll just do it from here. Transform, stretch to screen. Alright, now it should be outputting what I want it to output. Now you can't actually play your game from here. Of course, it's not going to work properly. I don't recommend it. It's going to have a little bit of lag in your gameplay. But let me open this up. Just like recording some Destiny. Let me turn on the game audio. See down here, you can control everything in live form. So this is all going to work just perfectly. But if you were to record Minecraft videos, there is something I recommend. I'm going to go over that in a next video. So if you guys want to keep up to date with that, you can. Just click that subscribe button, and you guys can follow me from there. Don't forget to like this video if it was helpful to you. But that's pretty much all you need to know. You just take this video, it'll be in your output folder that you selected, and you throw it inside of a program like Premiere or Sony Vegas. Those are two that I highly recommend. You just throw it into there. You'll have your multi-track audio. You can adjust your volume settings from there, do any editing you need to do, throw in your intro video and outro video, whatever you do, and I think that you'll be good. You'll be good to go. You'll be making getting all them subscribers, on YouTube, and doing everything you need to do. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.